Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm here today to ask you to join a campaign I'm embarking upon. It's time to tear down my great-grandfather's statue. That's right, my great-grandfather was a slave owner. I'm talking, of course, about Abraham. Abraham had a manservant by the name of Eliezer and a maidservant by the name of Hagar. So I know where they're coming from. I certainly empathize with many of those who are angry when they see statues dedicated to men whose conduct left a lot to be desired. What do we do with our forebears who may not have acted in the way that we would act? At the end of this week's parasha, Moshe's siblings are in a conversation about his wife Tzipporah. Miriam and Aaron were speaking of Moshe about the Cushi woman he married. They go on to discuss why they thought Moshe may have been neglecting his marital duties, because he was always talking to God. What did they mean by Cushi? Cush is the ancient name for Ethiopia. Problem was, Tzipporah wasn't from Ethiopia. She was from Midian. Why did they refer to her as a Cushi? Says the Ibn Ezra, she was very dark, so it was as if she were Ethiopian. Says Rashi, no. It means that she was distinctly beautiful. She was so beautiful, in fact, that she had earned that nickname on account of her beauty. So which one was it? Were they using the term to describe her incredible beauty? Or was it essentially a derogatory term? The answer is, it makes no difference to us in the 21st century. The term Cushi in modern Hebrew is a racial slur. And as we've seen over the past week, we don't care whether or not it was considered appropriate or inappropriate in a bygone era. Everyone is to be judged by today's enlightened standards. And so, friends, I believe it's time to take down these statues to Miriam and Aaron, and it's time to take down Abraham, the slave owner's statue. Actually, come to think of it, there are no statues to Abraham, Miriam, or Aaron. Why not? Because the Ten Commandments declares, thou shalt not make for thee a statue. And we're not just talking about idols, we're talking about statues generally. What's wrong with statues? Why does the Torah prohibit statues? Statues are bad for two reasons. Number one, because nobody is perfect. Abraham was flawed, Miriam and Aaron were flawed, even Moses wasn't perfect, which might be the irony behind Michelangelo's statue of him that depicts poor Moses through the lens of Michelangelo's values and understanding. Which brings us to the second reason statues are bad. Statues set in stone a certain value of a certain era, and values change, which is why statues should come down if they don't reflect the right values. However, we are blessed to live in a democratic society, and such value re-evaluation must be done peacefully and democratically. There should be a process to assess the contemporary sentiment towards values of a prior era. What does all this mean for us? Our sages tell us, Ezehu chacham haroeh et hanolad. Who is wise? One who sees the future, one who sees the outcome of our actions today. The real question of the events of the last week is the following. Which values and attitudes do we hold today that will one day be considered taboo and sinful? I believe there are many, and it's incumbent upon each individual to look deep inside themselves and ask if their values are timeless or condemned to be torn down sometime in the future. I'll share with you a couple of ideas. Let's start with violence and murder on TV and in video games. Day in, day out, our children are on their screens killing people. Does that sound like a timeless value to you? Or how about this one? We were once given tickets to the Canadian rodeo, and I must tell you, they do some not particularly nice things to the animals there. But that's not the crux of the story. After witnessing the awful treatment of the animals, a member of our group left in disgust. Of course, the following week, he was back watching a hockey game at the very same stadium. Now, if you've never watched the NHL, you've never seen violence in sports before. Well, I shouldn't say never. Chances are you've seen an NFL game or a boxing, wrestling, or MMA match. I'm not going to go into the statistics about injury, concussion, or permanent brain damage that results from some of these lovely spectator sports. Let's just say there was a time that gladiators fought to the death, and thank God we've come a long way since then. But sadly, we're not there yet. We still have many idols to tear down. It's one thing to look backwards and condemn the past. The question is, are we prepared to tear down our statues of the present? These are not easy questions or issues. We're living in calamitous times, and we're dealing with major issues. May the Almighty shine his countenance upon us all, and may we see peace, love, and justice very soon in this country and across the globe. Amen. Wishing you all a peaceful and tolerant Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.